Welcome back to DiceTillDawn and my second review. Today I'm trying to review something a bit more complex, and because of that I will try to cut this video into 3 parts. And in the first part I will go through the main idea and some of the components of the game. On the second part I will show a gameplay video, hopefully from above the table. We'll see how my setup works for that. And then on the third part I will give my final thoughts and review, and then I will try to edit all that mess together and we'll see how that goes. But the game that I'm reviewing today is Legendary Encounters, the Alien deck building game. This is a deck building game based on the Marvel Legendary series. It has some tweaks on it and some differences, but you can actually mix them a bit together. I've never played the Marvel one, so I can't do a straight comparison, but after Alien Encounters was revealed, I knew I had to have that game. I love Aliens movies. Aliens is one of my favorite action movies of all time, after T2 I guess. And I have like some figures on myself in a living room, and I actually got a few years ago I got these cool minis, Hudson and Xenomorph Warrior, from my friend as a birthday present. I still don't know where to put these, so they are still in plastic, but they are kind of nice in their plastic, so I didn't want to even open them. But anyway, thanks Antti. So I love Aliens, so take my review with a grain of salt because of that. I'm predisposed to liking this game. But hopefully you can make your own mind. This is a review, so this is my opinion anyway. Alien is a deck building game in which you start with a weak deck and you buy cards which are the characters from the movies, and your deck gets better and you try to beat the final objective. There are 3 objectives, and you can actually play through all the 4 Alien movies, which all have 3 objectives, and the objectives are fine. Like in telling a story of the movie, a particular movie, and the characters have nice text on them which remind me of the movie and all that stuff. So, and also this is a cooperative game, so all the players are working together to beat the aliens. There are some variants to that which are like you can have traitors in your midst, or players can come back as aliens, stuff like that, but I will sort some of them out in the gameplay video. First of all, the game card comes with a playmat and 600 cards. That's a lot, especially when you open the box. You see that all the cards are in plastic bags of like 80 cards per stack, and when you open them you notice that none of them are in any order. So be warned that it will take you 1 to 2 hours to just sort out the cards. After that, when you've done it once and it's all set up, it's pretty easy to set things up, but the first part is bad, and I will recommend that you go to Board Game Geek and download a checklist. Also to see if you're missing some cards. I've heard it's usual that there have been cards missing. My copy had everything in it, but you can see that, and also it will help you sort things out a bit. But it's a complaint, but after you've done it once, you won't even remember it. And especially if you know it beforehand, you can be warned of it, so it didn't bother me as much because I knew it. I printed the checklist and I opened my box, and also kind of had a fun time sleeving the cards and looking through the fine characters, and just knew what I was doing, so it helped a lot. If I had pulled this out, opened it with my friends here, and now let's play Alien, I think it would have fell flat in that moment because of all the sorting out. But just be warned of that. So after I did it, the game gladly comes with these generic dividers, which are I think the same as in Marvel Legendary. So I wrote the name of the deck on the top and then put the deck behind it in rubber band, so even when I lift it to the shelf, even if the things slide around a bit, they won't get messed up. So I will show you my setup quickly here. Hope you can see it. It's like this. So all the different decks are named on the top and the deck is behind them in rubber bands. And the playmat is here between them. And the game also comes with these to help sort things out and keep them in place. My cards are sleeved, so they take a lot more room, but if they aren't, you can, I think you can almost fit them in one size of this. So that's nice. The storage solution isn't the best, but with sleeved cards and the rubber bands and the dividers, I think it works okay now, and setup is very easy. So that's about it for the first part of the game. Next we will go to the gameplay section, and then you will hear my final thoughts. Hello and welcome back to my gameplay section, and this is in a darkly lit room. If I put the overhead lamp on, it gives too much glare, so we will try how this looks. And as you can see, I have my iPhone in my hand at the moment because I really don't have anything proper to hold it in its place, so I could do this hands-free. But I will try this and we'll see how it goes, and give me feedback on if you are motion sick or everything. I apologize, but I will actually try to explain the different parts of the game. And here the game is set up for a one-player game as the first movie, Alien 1. And we'll start it at the upper left corner. Here are our objectives. So, as the first objective is SOS. Objective is to find both parts of the SOS. And in case of an event, we have a rough landing, and you and the next player each have to draw a strike. And when we finish that, we move on to No One Can Hear You Scream or The Perfect Organism, if we get there. Then there's the location, and obviously for Alien 1 it's the Nostromo, and this just tells us what happens in case of hazards and when we draw them from the hive deck. And there's some flavor text also. Here are the sergeants, which are essentially the coordinate cards in the game, but in a one-player game they are just money if you need money. Down here is the headquarters, and these are the 5 cards we have available for purchase at any moment. And once I buy one, I get more from the barracks deck. So let's look at 2 of these. So at the bottom right is the cost of it as recruitment points. Down up here is the amount of recruitment points or attack the card gives you. And then there might be some abilities. For example, this is a class ability. If I have played this data chip before, which is this icon here, on another card, I can activate this ability also. Or here is the other ability for Intel, and it's up here. If I have played, for example, another card like this before that, I could activate this also. But otherwise it just gives me 2 attack. And every time you buy one, it gets refilled immediately with a new card. Then there's the operations. It's a place where the game sometimes tells you to put things in. Then there's the combat zone, where if any enemy is in the combat zone, they will fight you. Then there's the complex, which is where the hive deck starts pushing out, and when they reach the airlock, if they still move, they will move to the combat zone. You will see that soon. Then there's the hive deck, which is actually made out of 3 different mini decks, with the Objective 1 mini deck on top and the Objective 3 mini deck at the bottom shuffled. So we know that the Objective 1 cards are on the top, but we don't know the order. Then there's the hatchery, where there's nice face huggers and some lovely chest bursters. And then there's a place for dead enemies we kill, discarded events and hazards. For the discarded strikes, because here is the strike deck, which is the deck that gives us all kinds of bad things. Except this, no damage, discard this, close call, as you can see. And then there's place for our perhaps dead characters, which don't go to our discard pile but are actually dead, they go here. And then there's a nice summary of the game turn. And I will actually go through at least one game turn for you, so you can see it in action. But first I will show you my avatar choice. I'm always the medic. So these are my changes to other players in the game. This is my avatar. It represents what I am. I am the medic, and this is my health. So I have 10 health and 5 armor, but the armor is not relevant unless you want it to make the game easier or stuff like that. And this just says that you start the game with Battlefield Medicine in your deck. So I get this card, which is called Battlefield Medicine, and this is added to my deck, and it has this cooperation symbol. And the card is always 0 cost as all the starting cards, and it says draw a card and you may heal a strike from any player. So this just starts healing people when they get hurt. And here is my starting deck, which is 7 specialists and 5 grunts, which are attack, specialists are recruitment power. So I will shuffle all of this quickly with my left hand, and so my deck of 13 cards is now ready, and the game is ready. So let's go to the first phase. Turn order. During your turn, these are the phases we go through. So first is the enemy phase, hive phase. Add a hive card, keeping it face down to the complex. So we go up here to the hive deck and take the first card and just put it into the ventilation shafts, face down. Okay, the hive phase is done. So now it's our action phase. I will play cards that I have drawn. I actually have 6 cards in my hand. So let's see what I get. I now have the usual 3 and 3 turn. It's our like joke or around. Did you get a 3 and 3 turn? Yeah, yes I did, and now I did. So what I can do with these, I can play them in any order, use them in any order, and keep doing actions after I've played some, after I have bought some. But let's start with the attack. I now have 3 attack, and as you can see in the complex I can scan things which are face down. So I could scan this ventilation shaft, but it needs 4 attack, so I can't scan that now. So these are in the first turn essentially useless to me now. I will put them to the side. But I also have 3 money, and now I can check out the barracks, what's there. This costs 4, I can't buy that, but I can buy either of these. This is 2 attack, this is 2 money, and potentially scans later on. And also there's this quarantine procedure, which is 1 attack, and I can look at the top card of any player's deck and you may kill it or put it back. I really like thinning my deck, so I will actually buy this one. So it gets refilled immediately with electric prod. So I put the card I buy to my discard pile, and I have now 1 money left, but it's not enough for anything else. So I discard all the rest of the cards. Actually, I don't do that yet, but strike phase is each enemy in the combat zone. So if some enemies had gone to the combat zone, they would now strike. But there's nothing there, so the strike phase is skipped. And then the cleanup phase I already did. I discarded my hand and all cards I played, and now I just draw a new hand of 6 cards. I will do it right now. So now I have a new hand of 6. And then I start the game round again. So let's go through another round just to show you the mechanics. So again I add a hive card, and this time it pushes the earlier card on. So this is how the cards can get to the combat zone when they move, and then they flip here. So down here now I have 2 attack and 4 money. So yet again, these cost 3 and 4 to scan, so I still can't scan them. But let's say I had 3 attack, just to show you the attack now. If I have 3, I can now scan this. Let's scan. Okay, here's an event. This is interesting. So now we go to the objective, and the objective says that in the case of an event, you and the next player each draw a strike. Okay, so I'm playing alone, so who's the next player? It's actually me also. So I have to draw 2 strikes. This goes to the discarded events, and I draw 2 strikes. Okay, close call, no damage, nice. and ouch, that's a flesh wound strike. The one down there means that now I have one strike. I will put it under my avatar like this, for example, and now I can see that I now have 9 health left. So that was it, and now I can buy another card. Let's say I bought this attack card, for example. It goes to my deck and it gets refilled immediately, and that's it. And I reshuffle and the hive keeps going on and on, and when I find the SOS, they are in the first hive deck. When I have done that, we go to the no one can hear you scream, where I have to do some other thing, and finally I have to kill the perfect organism, and it's a big beast. And if I manage to kill the perfect organism, I win. If I die, I lose. There's no coming back. There's player elimination here, even when at other players. Although, if you die with a facehugger, which is a great element to this game, there can be facehuggers in the hive deck, or you can get them elsewhere. You can get one from the strike deck even. And this is a 3 strength enemy, and if you can't kill it in one turn, basically, if it's still alive when your next turn begins, it dies and you get a chest burster card into your discard pile. And if you now can't get rid of this card through card effects, there are only a few of those. But if you can't, the next time you shuffle your deck, discard pile as your deck, and if you draw this card, you immediately die and are out of the game. But there is a variant where you can then come back as an alien player. Of course, as in a one-player game, why would you come again playing against yourself? so there's no point there. But if you die from a chest burster, you could come back as an alien, which is a neat concept, but we've never done it because it's just hard even without that, and the alien cards are very powerful. But anyway, so as first, when you draw a card and there aren't any cards, you just shuffle your discard pile as a new deck and go again. So now I have the 2 better cards here, and I will start drawing them and making more attack, and my first purchase might start. I would like to start killing these, for example, these specialists when they go here. So now my deck is thinner and the good cards will come more often, not these 1 cards, but the 2 attack or 2 money cards. And so my hands will get much better, and I will be able to combo the abilities of the classes or stuff like that and keep going. And the things in the deck will always get tougher. The first deck is easier, the second is harder, and the third is very hard. So the game has a nice arc to it, where it keeps pushing you harder the better you get. So this is basically the whole game. I will say that all the objectives are very cool. They are very thematic and feel like the movie. The effects remind you of the things in the movie. Also the locations are very thematic, with like self-destructions here, which is very hard and hits you very hard if you can't disable the self-destruction. And all the movies feel like the movies themselves, and also these cards are just cool. The art is nice, it reminds you of the people, and also the like flavor text sometimes, and the name of the card is usually some line from the movie or stuff like that, but it's still cartoon art, so it's not those cheesy movie screenshots which always look bad in a game. And the mat is just nice to feel, feeling nice and very cool. It's really lays flat on the surface, and it's easy to pack and looks nice. The art is good on the mat too. The cards are okay quality, but I sleeved mine because, well, okay, 100 games later, I think these would really show wear, and especially when the starter cards are always the same. So the first 12 cards would probably be white, and the rest are played with much less, because there are
4 different sets of characters for each of the movies. There are 4 different sets of 3 objectives for each of the movies, so those get like less play per game than the starter cards, and the strikes are always the same too. And the sergeant's predator slipped in there. So that is the thematic thing, which I've actually forgot to say in the beginning, was that the theme actually is the strongest thing in Alien. You feel the tension when the things start creeping, and when you just don't have the attacks, and when something creepy just jumps at you from the complex. There are some eggs here, and these could like give you a face hugger, and then you could be impregnated by a chest burster, and stuff like that can happen often, and there are always some curveballs in the Hive deck. But all in all, it's pretty easy and simple, and once it gets going, and the 5 cards available is nice because you can chat with your friends about who wants this and who wants that, and I really want that because this is a co-op, so you can divide the cards and try to make everyone's deck equal, or maybe even make one deck that's very good for attack and another that heals people and another that just helps around in general and has a lot of coordinate, for example, stuff like that. But there are many ways to play this game, and it's highly enjoyable and highly thematic. I hope you got some overview of the game. I hope I didn't forget anything important, but here's something for you. Hope you liked it.
Okay, welcome back. Hope you got some idea of the gameplay in that section, and now on to my final thoughts. So, as you can tell, I love this game. I've rated it a 10 on BGG. There aren't many games I rate 10, so that's one thing. But the fact that I've played it nearly 100 times, it's most I've played any board game, if you don't count just like Magic the Gathering perhaps, or Netrunner. I've played more, but okay, this isn't a board game also, but anyway, it's my most played board game, and I just love the game. It works as a cooperative perfectly, and I like co-op games. I like everything from Pandemic to Flashpoint to Arkham Horror to games like those, so co-op is a plus for me, especially when it's very hard, and this is very hard. First it was extremely hard, but when we got better, and now we have actually beaten all of the movies with 3 players and 0 drones, I think. At least 3 of them, if I remember correctly. But many of them we have beaten with 0 drones, which makes them very hard on 3 players. You should try them out. So, difficulty fixing is actually very nice in this game. You can actually easily fix the difficulty up or down depending on what you like. So that's a big plus to me, because I think if we played this on the normal setup of 3 drones per mini deck with the same 3 players I usually play with, I would almost argue that we would always beat the game. Of course there can be some weird games, but I think we would always win the game. But when you start taking those drones out, perhaps even adding cards to the wilds at startup and things like that, the things really get hard, and that's a good thing. And it's easy to do. There are many games that need some weird things to make the game perhaps difficult, or more difficult, or perhaps easier, but in this it works very easily. So the player count, 1 player is okay. I played a lot of 1 player and it's fun, and you can really make a great deck in 1 player. I think I've gone below my starter deck total number of cards in 1 player games, so it gets very easy. I've beaten all of the movies with 0 drones, and even I think with few cards added to the wilds. It's still fun and it works, but the coordinates are useless, and some of the things just don't work as well as the strikes, which other players can help you with and stuff like that. So there have been some weird swings. 2 players is start to get fun or very fun, but still there's only one to coordinate with, so the co-op isn't that like nice, but it's very easy to make two different but good decks. The other could be a healer kind of thing. I'm always the medic, so the other could heal and the other has the great class combos, and it's nice to play two-player, but it still doesn't have the epic co-op feeling, and it's still pretty easy with two players because the decks are so good and the hype is so slow. At three players, I think is the best player count, or four. It's somewhere there. I don't even know which is better. I think three, but four is almost equally as good. Three, I think, because the deck building is still pretty easy to do, because there's not so many rounds between your turn, so that the decks shuffle through. But it's still difficult. And at 4 it starts to get to the zone that it's very hard, and I don't mind hard, but it's hard that in a way that the deck building kind of loses some of its best things, because your deck shuffles so rarely and you get fewer turns before the hype runs to the combat zone, that I think it's slightly loses the deck building aspect and slightly loses some of the fun, but it's still awesome at 4. And at 5 it's almost impossible. I played I think 2 or 3 games with 5, and none of them I think we got even near the third objective or something like that, and it's very hard and also kind of frustrating because it takes a long time to play and your turns are very far and between your next turn and your this turn people could have died already, so it gets a little weird. Actually, the new game Predator, which I already have on my shelf here, perhaps more on that later, actually comes with rules that they suggest you use if you have Alien, even if you are only playing Alien. There are things like a free preparation round at 5 players, and also I think they added even more drone cards to the decks and stuff like that, so try with those at first. I guess you can win it with 5, and I would play it with 5 if I have 5 players here now. If they wanted to play Alien, of course I would play it, but I think it's the best at 3 or 4. So also the theme just works. It's great. Player counts work, fixing difficulty works. I think there's like pretty much everything that works here. So what else can I say? Just go and buy the game and see you later.